I pressed it. Okay, we should be live, and now, Keith, take it away.
Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
Yesterday was silent trailers. Not much to talk about. Newsy does the Instagram recaps. You can follow along what's going on. Captures the pictures at such exciting moments, then adds the little doodads, and this is how the game was going for me. Yeah, he's a big scream face over my face.
Now he takes these screen grabs during the show. It's unbelievable. He adds all that animation stuff on it, and you could see it, like he said, live on our Instagram in the stories, but those go away after 24 hours. He posts it on our Reddit page under the Keith and the Girl Reddit page also. So your little you were exploding a lot, but I gotta say, this is like one of the few times where I'm like, you know what? If I see your lid pop off, this would make so much sense. It had to have been infuriating for you, the game last night.
I couldn't tell who I was playing against. Team Fuck Keith was in full effect. Dave Hill, Kerry Gravenson, a whole bunch of assholes. You'll see it, but it's fucking nuts. Here's what you do: keithandthegirl.com/silent trailers. Right now, that episode is up. You can check it out. And also silent trailers, games we played with Gilbert Gottfried, Mike William Black, all of them. You can take a look for a little bit right there, right now. Keith and the Girl's YouTube channel.
Yeah, if you're on Keith and the Girl's YouTube channel, we do have a silent trailers playlist. So if you want to make it easy like that for you. But you gotta catch them all. Sorry, Pokemon.
You need some Rolaids for this latest one, but I think you'll enjoy it. All right.
Why did Rolaids call themselves Rolaids? That's all. Right. It's just okay.
and it did sound weird because I couldn't think of Tums, and so I went Rolaids. Today's guest, brand new to the Keith and the Girl universe, but I'm a big fan of the podcast called Awkward Sex and the City. Natalie Wall. Hello, Natalie.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We'll do a little news. I'll pepper in some jokes that I'll pretend are off the cuff, and then we're going to talk about sex. You into this, Natalie?
I love it. I can't wait.
All right. I'm watching this TV show, Loki. Do you watch the superhero TV shows?
I watch some of them. There's so many at this point that I kind of just am like off vibes. I'll be like, sure. But I like Loki. That one's been pretty fun.
I like that. I'm not watching, but I can tell off vibes. I'm going to catch that. That wave. Yeah.
Well, I listened to your podcast, and anytime Natalie says something, she's very clear, like, but not for everybody. You might have a different kind of libido. Don't cry. Don't be sad. Everybody's a little different. I don't think masturbating should be such a big deal. But I mean, if you're comfortable making it a big deal, then please, by all means, make it a big deal if it doesn't hurt anybody. So I hear what you're saying. No, this
right?
Loki, this Loki show legit pisses me off. It legit upsets me. And we're hostage to these shows because there might be a movie tie-in, and they have a responsibility, and they're ruining it. And it's make me, not only do I not understand this fucking show, that might be a reason I hate it. It's very convoluted, but I don't think it's my fault. It's superheroes at the end of the day. But they travel through time in this Loki TV show, and like a big like a vertical monolith comes up, and they walk through these different time zones, but nobody sees them do it. Nobody hears they can walk behind a big crowd and all of a sudden be there, and nobody turned around and heard the noise and saw them. And everybody's deaf on this fucking show. Like somebody will be chasing somebody. They hide in, let's say somebody hides in like a wall with paneling over them. Loki will be looking for him, can't find him with all his magic. Keeps walking like 10 feet. Then they open the panel and start walking out. No one heard all that.
I honestly did not expect this version of the critique. And I'm going to ask a question that could seemingly get you a little more upset, but it's not the intention.
I'm still hungover from yesterday's loss, but you can try.
Is this a children's show? And the reason why I ask,
no children would understand it because I'm a genius and I don't get it.
Oh boy.
Well, you're right though. It's like you have to watch everything now because they're trying to do a new end game, but now it's the multiverse or whatever. Right. They're trying to really bring the multiverse together, and sometimes it sticks and sometimes it doesn't. But the fans don't really seem into this like thing they're trying to propel the movies to, where like every movie was propelling to Civil War and then was like propelling to this, end game, which people are like, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, that's true. It was a masterpiece. Yeah, this a little too much, and then I gotta wonder if one of the main characters really was a rapist or not. Can we speed up that court case? I'm a little confused.
I'm not sure I know which person that is because there's just too many.
Jonathan Majors, the main new bad guy.
Oh, yes, that one.
So we'll see. Yeah. Jury's out, or they don't have the jury yet, but come on.
Isn't it fun what we keep track of, Natalie? Isn't it fun? Just like, oh, right, him. Yes, rapist. Okay. Right. I don't have my list handy, but I gotta say, Keith keeps track. Not only does he have a really secured list in his head, he's got files on
I got a file cabinet on rapists.
Yeah. I'm
Hollywood
impressed.
rapists. It's hard to do I alphabet by TV show? Do I alphabet by their name? You keep every week you have a new idea. You keep switching it around. Oh, well. All right, let's talk about something lighter. All right. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Are we in love with this love? Natalie.
Well, I always find this one very funny because my parents are Chiefs fans.
Okay.
So they have been personally affected by this. And
Do they pretend it ruins the game?
A little bit. Yeah. I was with them back in September for a couple of days and we got to watch a game and they were just like, I don't care. And I was like, well, this is fun. Like,
right. Or it's a Domino's commercial. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. Like
they don't shut down the game. Instead of 4th and down, we're going to go to Taylor Swift dancing. Does she know what she's dancing for?
But I mean,
go on. No, you're good.
I feel like that's how our parents, or at least my parents, have always watched shows. Like they, for example, love Wheel of Fortune, and who of their age does not? It feels like there's an addiction there. Something's happening. But anyway, they watch it and they just critique it. You would think that for the entire half an hour, they like the commercials more than they actually like the show. But you better not talk on top of certain things. And you don't know what those certain things are because it's like, I can't believe she's wearing that dress. Oh, shh. You're asking for a vowel, Chemda. Sorry, I was going to tell you about my day since you invited me to dinner. Now we're watching Wheel of Fortune. But yeah, it's a weird thing to watch TV with the parents. So if you're watching football and they're giving you Taylor Swift to talk about, I mean, what would you rather talk about? The war? I'm not saying which war.
It's I totally lost my train of thought. It is. I'm getting bored with it. It's a little too much, but it's also wild that she has like upped NFL's profit. Like, I don't think they were hurting to begin with, but like they've made a lot of money because now girls are like, well, now I must get this jersey. Now I must do this.
They're selling more tickets. They're selling more jerseys. His jersey, I forget what it is, went up like 400%, something insane. He's in the top 10 of jersey sales. He's not a quarterback, to be clear. That's a big deal.
I also love that women now kind of get to fuck with men a little bit, like playing around, being like, "Oh, did you know about this guy? Like, supposedly he's a football player," and there are people losing their shit, being like, "No, he's great." I mean, I didn't know who he was until this happened, and I know the Chiefs. Like, I don't care enough.
Right.
But I love that. I love anytime we get to fuck with cis straight men. Love it.
They love the one thing they know that they can be condescending to you, and it's like, well, now I know it too.
Right. Exactly.
We played this the other day. This is Donna Kelce, the mom of 2 great football players, including, of course, Travis Kelce. She was on the Today Show, and they asked her, "Hey, what's going on with this new relationship? And you're hanging out in the box with Taylor. Are you enjoying that celebrity?"
Well, it's fun watching you on the box. We only could see you at home on our TVs. Was that the first time you'd met Taylor?
Yeah, it's fairly new, so I don't like to talk about it. It's just one of those things where, obviously everybody saw me. I was in the boxes with her, and it's just another thing that's amped up my life.
Yeah, what was she like? What was it? I mean, so you got to know her a little bit.
And quite frankly, it's the only reason you're here. You know what? Let's talk about this a little bit if you want.
Got to sit with a couple games. How was it?
It was okay. Yeah.
Well, we both met her, and we've always sort of just been delighted by her way.
Yeah.
Did she Travis rolls her eyes. Mom, if you get on the Today Show and start spilling the beans, you get a little warning?
It's not so much a warning, it's his personal life.
Yeah.
That's actually. I was gonna say, Rod brought up a great point where it's like, Donna Kelsey is a little celebrity now. She's in Campbell's Soup commercials, this kind of thing. Again, two great football players. Last Super Bowl, they went against each other. That's how good her kids are. And now you got the most famous person in the world taking up your spotlight. Maybe she's a little jealous.
My favorite new is that like somebody asks you to marry them and you're like, yeah. Technically, that's a yes.
She said, yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Now, I just reheard it because we just played it on another episode where we named the episode Delighted by His Way or Her Way or whatever. Mm-hmm. Love that. My new favorite phrase, of course. But in rehearing it, I heard, of course, she's going to be asked about Taylor Swift, right? So I heard her prep. The first answer sounded like, hey, they're going to ask you about Taylor Swift. Just say like, oh, yeah, now she's in the booth with me, blah, blah, blah. The follow-up question is what stumped her. So how do you feel about that? I already answered.
Right.
Yeah. What? How many of these questions?
I'm happy for him. He looks like a big animal and she's a tiny little thing. That must be fun. They just, there's a Instagram picture as she's kissing him on the cheek. So it's official, folks.
Oh,
it's official.
I'm a little bit of a Swiftie too, and how it broke. Wasn't it his brother was like on a sports radio show and someone asked like if the rumors were true, and his brother was like, yeah, it's all fucking true. And so that was like, I feel like in Swiftie universe, it was like, whoa, because she likes to control the narrative so much that it was like either the brother just blew this shit up without her being ready and like her team being ready, or she was like, yeah, fuck it, let's go for it. But I don't know. Because then when the mom is like, no, it's his personal life, I don't want to talk about it. It was like, well, his brother fucking did it on like a national radio show. So I think you're fine, Donna.
And then the hosts are like, okay, Donna, how was your week? Do you have empty nest syndrome?
What'd you have for breakfast?
Right. Is your car holding up okay?
Celebrities, they're just like us.
They're just like us.
Online, there's this person called There I Ruined It. And he uses AI and mashes up weird songs, like one was people who don't like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, what it sounds like to them. And it was just a bunch of fucking noise. California, and then, and then their style. This is a Taylor Swift AI song, okay? Completely fake song, but it sounds like her to me.
You stole my heart, you intercepted it. Now you're gone, have to accept it. Did I meet your mom too soon? Or did I do what I always do? Yeah, we made it to the 50, and then you kissed me. We made it to the 40, a new love story. We made it to the 30, and you did me dirty right then. You put the end in tight end.
It sounds like Blank Space, that one, like, they'll tell you I'm insane.
That was perfect. Like I would play that on repeat, and I kind of loved how it was like it had football references, but it didn't fully make sense.
Right.
Like, you could tell like she doesn't fully get the game. But that was as someone who listened to Taylor Swift, yeah, that sounded exactly like her.
They did her dirty on the 30.
Like tight end, that sounds so dirty. And if I stand here, I could be real flirty.
Perfect.
Oh, look at me. I'm AI now.
Astronomers have detected a mysterious blast of radio waves that has taken 8 billion years to reach the Earth. I bet that message doesn't hold up.
What is this in Craig's news? What's going on?
In Space Craig news, 8 billion years. We got a radio wave got here, and it's probably totally cringe in 2023, But anyway, let's send a message back. In about 16 billion years, we'll get close to finding out about aliens. So this is very exciting to everybody who loves space and aliens. Congrats.
I'm going to say that I didn't understand that, and it either wasn't for me or wasn't for you to tell me.
It's not for anybody.
So, yeah.
A wave came. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that's quite clear. It took 8 billion years, they figured out. because it was timestamped. And now we're going to send one back, and that'll take about 8 billion years. So keep an eye on the paper.
So was there like a message to decode, or is the wave the message?
It's a wave. You get, make it your own.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, there's no message. It's not like beep, bop, boop. It's just like, I don't know. It's like static, and everybody's horny over there. And
it's crazy how so much shit's going on now, like every day, that when like they were like, oh no, aliens are real, or like UFOs are real, no one cared.
Right.
Like no one cared. They were just like, sure, of course.
Sounds
like
good.
we got shit here we need to worry about first.
Right. How about take a clear picture and we'll talk? Okay, boring. I'm an Air Force pilot. Okay, great.
Everyone's afraid to talk about UFOs because it's like, well, then we have to talk about, do we fight them or not? And I still don't know what side I am on other issues that I don't want to bring up.
Right.
Yeah. You're like the girl in Independence Day with the sign, but then she immediately gets killed. They're like, we're here for you. And they just get like pulverized by like a beam, a wave, maybe a light wave.
Right. That was sent a long time ago. Speaking of aliens, Elon Musk news. Wikipedia says Wikipedia is not for sale. It's that time of the year. Please donate to Wikipedia so that it keeps it going. And Elon Musk said, oh, you're not for sale? I will give you $1 billion if you change your name to Dickopedia.
I take that deal.
So maybe it's like Dictionary, Wiktionary, but at the same time, he is the corniest, cringiest jokester.
Yeah, like he's worse than dad humor. I think every time he has another baby, he gets worse in his dad humor. Is that what happens?
Well, I was going to say, speaking of babies, Twitter changed to X. His company is SpaceX. He literally named the kid X. He's like, he's a kid with money now. He's like, I'm edgy. It's X. Everything's X. Even my baby.
Do you know what this reminds me of? When I go see my nephews and they're like, one's going to be 4, the other one's like 6 or 7. You get it.
Right.
Anyway, they go, knock, knock. And I go, who's there? And they go, poop on your head. And they just laugh. Mm-hmm. It's fucking, and then I start laughing, and then they make the mistake of like, oh, Chemda thinks this is funny. And I'm like, no, this is just, you are the funniest impression of Elon Musk I've ever seen. Right. And it's fantastic day for everyone.
How many kids does he have now?
At least 3. And his wife filed for custody, and he secretly filed for custody before she did. We'll see what that means.
Oh, wow. I thought it was like 7.
Yeah, me too.
It could be. I just know about 3 with Grimes. Is that her name, Grimes?
Yes.
Yeah. He has 7. He has 7.
Okay.
11. Oh my God. 11.
Oh my God.
11. You get arrested for that.
Oh, he's Nick.
You're out of order. How can you take care of these 3?
Elon Musk is a father of 11 children with 3 different women, the mother of 3 of the tech entrepreneur's children. The artist Grimes recently filed a petition in court to establish parental rights after her split with Musk.
Yeah. And apparently he did it too and didn't tell her. Oh, well, I will give them $1 billion if they change their name to Dickopedia, 1 year minimum.
Okay. But does the redirect still work? If I go to Wikipedia, will I get to Dickopedia?
Mm-hmm.
That goes to X videos now, but only for 1 year.
I would take the deal.
I think I would too.
Yeah.
Like it's dumb, but I would do it.
Like maybe I'm saying take the deal because I fall for those emails every year and I do give to Wikipedia because I'm just like, I do use it. Okay. And so I'm like, just take his $1 billion, leave my $10 alone.
Okay. How about if it's $2 billion, only 3 months, but it's called Mom and Daughter Pornopedia. And it's still regular Wikipedia.
Yeah.
As long as you're not like children something in this.
No, just mom and daughter of age consensualpedia.
Sure, donkey sexopedia. Sure, give me my $1 billion.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as he has no control of the information that's being inputted.
Right.
You can call it whatever the hell you want. Like Elon Musk is the perfect man in the world. $3 billion for 3 months. Yeah, totally.
Like how you just raised it like you're gonna trick him.
Yeah, but I think you could. I think you could trick him.
Right. And $5 billion as promised. Okay. For 2 weeks. You said,
okay,
God, you're good.
I'll send you the $6 million invoice tomorrow.
Former Donald Trump campaign lawyer Sidney Powell pleaded guilty Thursday in the Georgia election subversion case, 1 day before her trial was set to start. The move could significantly change the landscape of the ongoing state and federal prosecutions against the former president. As recently as Tuesday, Powell was still posting 1 week ago. Powell was still posting false claims on social media that said the 2020 election was rigged. But on Thursday, she admitted that she was guilty of trying to interfere with the election. Remember, they were trying to get the fake votes in Georgia.
Is that not like a fucking big deal?
This is a big deal.
That is like you said, no, I'm just fucking with everyone who lives here.
Right. Wow. Her plea deal with Fulton County prosecutors will require her to testify truthfully against her co-defendants at any upcoming trials. There's like 18 people, not counting Trump.
She's dead.
That are included in this, including against Trump himself. Well, she's going to get a break. He's the one that's going to get in trouble. Kenneth Chesbrough, a Donald Trump-aligned attorney who helped craft the 2020 fake elector plot, pled guilty on Friday in the Georgia election subversion case. The plea deal is another major victory for Fulton County DAs, who charged Trump and 18 others in an effort to overturn the 2020 election. Former Trump campaign lawyer Sidney Powell, like I just said, pled guilty last Thursday. This is something. This is something.
Didn't someone today too also plead guilty?
Did they? Fantastic.
I only get news notifications. I don't get any other notifications on my phone, which is a terrible thing to do. But they're also, the headlines are hilarious because they're just so fear mongering. I think someone today is also pleading guilty. But now I can't remember his name.
You know what's funny? Speaking of these pop-ups, Huffington Post. It's like, man, this has to be a big organization because I'll get what you need to know about Trump and how this affects blah, blah, blah in Israel. And then the next thing, 12 Amazon secrets for your kitchen. I'm like, okay, we all got to make a buck, but you're the same company.
It's why I keep them on. For some reason, it makes me laugh. Like, because it's just like that, where it's like something inside your house is killing you right now. Right. And then it'll be behind a paywall, or it'll be like, this is happening in the world. But it'll be like these crazy sentences. And you're like, who got paid to write this? Or sometimes there will be a spelling mistake or a grammar mistake. And you're like, someone just got fired.
Yeah. You hope.
Someone just did.
Why eating mold is good for breakfast.
Yeah.
And the Ukraine.
This used to be on TV commercials around like 6 o'clock or whatever, or maybe all day. Like, this could be killing your children immediately. See you at 11 o'clock news. And also at 10 o'clock, it'd be like, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? I mean, it was almost the same messages. Now it's, hey, how about an Apple tag on your kids' clothing? Do you know where your children are?
Right. All right, let's get to it. We had our little appetizer. Now we're going to talk about fucking masturbating. I love it. Tell me if you find this, because I have with different guests that are, let's say, sex positive on this show. I get scared when somebody says they're an open book, because it seems like it's never their book. Because they don't, like, I'm thinking of one dude specifically. He's like, if everybody's a prude, you want to get a blowjob on Fifth Avenue, you can just do it. I'm like, oh yeah, how do you go about it? Really, kid? You fucking square? I'm like, oh, okay. I'm gonna have a glory hole set up in my house. How so? You don't know what a glory hole is? Yeah, but like, you're being serious. So in a wall, in a curtain, or you have strangers? Wow, you're really asking. I have a sex bag. What's in your sex bag? Really? That's important? I'm like, you're making sex so unfun, and you're the one who brought it up. Do you find this, like, you have a sex positive podcast? There's a bunch of prudes out there. Am I right or wrong?
Well, I'm
acting
so
like they're not.
Had that experience.
Thank you. It's not fun. I hate it.
Luckily for me, I haven't had too much like that. And I tried to be like, I always just like wear my faults on my sleeve, and I try to be as vulnerable as possible. And that makes people usually open up pretty easily, which is very humbling and very cool. And then it really goes really into relationships really quickly with the sex. And I think that part of it is taking away like the shock value. Like someone being like, I'm gonna have a fucking glory hole put in. Like, cool, good for you. That's great if that's like your thing. But like, don't shame people if they're like, one, don't know what it is, or two, that's not their vibe. Or
it's my vibe. I just want to know how now we have a conversation. How are you setting up a glory hole? Who are you where are you getting people to come into your house? Oh no, that's too much. You know what? Then it's all fake. And we're having the same amount of glory hole sex, I bet. None.
Yeah. And also, is the glory hole going in their house? Because that seems to defeat
why would you ask? Wow, weirdo. You don't have fun sex? You don't get it. That's what I got to deal with day in, day out. It's too much. We had on the this is different, but we had on a transgender woman. She's like, I'll answer anything. I just put out a movie about becoming a transgender woman. I'm like, okay, do we have the technology now to make working vaginas? Wow, really? You care that much about my downstairs? I'm like, motherfucker, it's your movie. You brought it up.
Yeah, and questions I think really help, move us along, because if you go back to like what we learned like in sex ed, if we had sex ed, I didn't really start learning shit until I like moved to New York City and meeting new and different types of people than what I had around me like in Stafford, Virginia. Like these conversations are so important to learn.
Stafford, Virginia sounds like an STD. Ooh, we don't call them STDs anymore, right?
We say the STD happened to us.
STI.
Yeah, I think STD is like still like okay. I don't think anyone's gonna get like super mad, but yeah, I think people go more with STI. But I still say STD all the time. Like I forget.
Oh, really?
No one wants to think they have a disease, just an infection. A disease is your fault.
I think the idea is to take some of the stigma away, right? Like everyone has HPV. Like I have HPV 18. Most people have or had herpes. And that like just taking away that stigma of like it's not that it's not a big deal, but it's like you're okay. Like it happens to all of us. Shit happens. Sometimes we don't use condoms. Things happen,
Yeah, well, people now understand alcoholism is a disease. I'm trying to get people to understand it's an infection.
An infection of the brain.
Right. When did your parents have sex talks with you?
They actually were very, very open, like very open sexually in front of us. I actually walked in on them accidentally multiple times. Like my parents had a very good sex life. I think they still do.
With other partners or just they're not shy about themselves?
Just themselves. Like they were not trying to be caught. A lot of the times it was my fault, like unlocking a locked door situation. Okay. But they were very open about, we had like this little mini key that you could use to unlock the like top doors. And like I couldn't find my mom one day. And it was Saturday, like morning, like it was morning. Yeah. I'm a child. I'm like 10, 11. And so I like unlocked the door and was like, Dad, where's mom? And they were like in their closet.
Wow, in the morning it's hard to get people like standing up, right? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, my brother accidentally walked in on them on places. My parents probably so mad that I talk about this.
They were there, they know.
They were there. They never like admitted to that though. Because I saw four legs, I ran away, and then all of a sudden my mom was just like downstairs. And I was like, where were you? And she was like, I've been downstairs the whole time. I was like, no, you have not. No, you have not.
She couldn't even say she was wrestling Dad. She's like, I wasn't even there.
It's like, yeah, it's a bold-faced lie that you're telling me right now. My mom was very like, you should have sex before you're married. Like you should try stuff out. We didn't really talk about masturbation that much. We talked a little bit about like protection and stuff, but were they ever too weird.
Much? Like you come back from a date and they're like, huh?
No, because I was such a late bloomer. I like wasn't doing anything in high school or most of college.
Because your parents are geniuses. We're going to openly talk about it and do it with you in front of you so that you can associate sex and sexual urges with talking to your parents. That'll slow you down a bit.
My mom also kind of fibbed on how well protection works. Like she was like, we use protection and you and your brother are still here. And so that really scared me of I don't want to mess with, chance that. And then it turns out like that was a lie. And she was like, yeah, just to make sure you like thought about it before, like you're making sure this is like worth the calculated risk. And it really worked. I didn't do anything until college really, when it came to sex.
Now, can I ask, I think female-bodied people have the female sex, I think, gets to have more opportunities to have sex. But
and it's okay if you're listening, you're not female-bodied. Thoughts and prayers.
Well, at least with us growing up, I think things are changing a lot, and I'm not like totally up on it. But did you have opportunities, or were you like no one that you were attracted to really was it, and that's why it happened that you happened to wait until college? Because high school is normal to be sexually active and do some stuff, but it's also normal not to have done things until you're out of high school, and it's not that late. It felt late. In high school, you're like, okay, everyone seems to do things all the time. I'm just, I better if I can do something with someone soon. I don't even care if I'm attracted to them. This is ridiculous.
No, absolutely. And there was like a really weird pressure in college too. I went to JMU, which was like kind of a party school. There's a major pressure to do stuff. But I was a very late bloomer. I think there were some opportunities that maybe I missed, but I was very weird. I was painfully shy, like could not look you in the eye type of shy, like when I was talking to you. And I don't know when that was like shed or when I got rid of it. But it was crazy because I was still very like, because my parents are the ones that talked about sex. I did have like information for friends, but I was never the one to be participating or actively doing stuff. Like I think I was a prude when I was in high school. I remember a friend was like, yeah, I gave head at like 14, and I was like, I'm sorry, you put a penis in your mouth at 14? Like I was still watching Blue's Clues at 14 because it made me feel good.
Well, he couldn't find the clit, so don't worry about that. He
only knew where the mailbox was.
It's training you to go, no, behind you. No, you're looking right there.
Is Aaron your boyfriend, husband?
He's my husband.
Husband?
My husband.
How long now?
About a year and a half. We've been together about 9 years, but married a year and a half.
Okay. Are you guys in an open relationship?
No. We talked about it once. And then we actually recently talked about it. And we both were like, we do not want to be in an open relationship. We had some people kind of have issues, maybe I would say. Like it was hard. Because open relationships are very, very hard. It's so much communication has to go into them so that there's
not the people I know.
Well, that's the problem, right? It's like, then is it a working open relationship? Right. Is this an ethically non-monogamous relationship or not? But we are monogamous.
Okay. But you do fun things. You masturbate with each other, right?
Yes, we haven't in a long time. Because it's like, I talked about this in the last podcast. It's very, very intimate. It's probably one of the most intimate things I've ever done is like mutual masturbation.
Is it weird? Like, does he ever go like, hey, let's have sex? And you go, yeah. What would be cool though? This moment, we just masturbate together instead. Could that hurt feelings? I mean, with you specifically, does it?
No, because sometimes that's how to get over the edge, right? To like climax. Like I'm not always going to orgasm with like a dick inside of me, sometimes I need masturbation. Sometimes I need like vibrators, tools, and we're both very okay with that. And if you're with someone that is not okay with that, which however, like is the best way for you to get off, that is a major red flag. Like if they're not cool with it.
Anybody say something to you? Like it kind of bothers me that you use a drill.
Definitely in the past. I can't like think of like specific moments, but I've definitely had exes in the past that like weren't okay with like vibrators or weren't okay with masturbation or stuff like that, which is sad because it's like what a great way to start off a good day. Like I used to always masturbate in the morning.
If vibrators got you people off, there would be no podcast. There would be no. I mean,
does that mean men? You mean?
Whatever version of why whoever's so confused about why every once in a while you want to throw this thing in. I don't know. Put it somewhere. Put it on your balls. Put it on your clit. Put it on somewhere and go.
I don't want to know one more way that masturbation is great. Yeah, you're right. I don't get anything done. It's right. It's fine the way it is. People are like, do you know if you weren't circumcised, you'd have more feeling down there? Then I'd be coming in my pants right now. Okay, this is best what they did.
That's a big one for us. Like we want to have one kid, fingers crossed, whatever happens. And we were like, if we have a boy, like, do we circumcise? Like, because you're like, oh, that's not fair to them. Like they don't get the choice, but also if they wanted to when they're older, the surgery is painful, but like also there could maybe be more infection, or is that a lie? Like we were like, we don't know. Like that one, I'm kind of hoping for a girl so we don't have to even think about that, You're
not going to like cut the lips off for safety?
Okay. I was like, wait, is this the boy? Are we calling that the lips?
I'm so progressive. I call it. I do remember my mom. My mom said that she did give me the sex talk, and I'm like, there's no fucking way, because that's something you don't forget. So you did it like when I was 2 or 3, and that was your little out. And I remember being a teenager, and my dad tried, and he, nobody wants that talk, even if you want information. And he goes, if you want, like, my mom made him say something. Not that anything was going on with a girlfriend or anything, but he was told he has to. And he goes, if you have any questions about sex, just ask me honestly and sincerely, and I'll answer anything. And I go, okay, how exactly do you get a penis into a vagina? Because there's got to be something to it, right? And he goes, you are not asking honestly and sincerely. Go to bed. Okay.
No one wants to answer your questions, Keith. That's so fair.
But they bring it up.
Yeah,
I didn't knock on the door. Let's talk sex, Dad. You brought it up. Now I'm the weirdo.
That reminds me, they did give me like a weird sex talk at 5, and I think it's because I walked in on them at 5, and I was like, "What is this?" And they were like, "Well, it's when people really love each other, they're touching each other in a special way." And so I was 5, right? And so the closest thing I had to love was like my dog. So I was like, okay, so when I pet Benji, I'm fucking him. And they were like, no.
Is that what they call it, the bestiality? No, go to bed. You're tired.
Well, I love you, Mom. What do we do? No. Okay. Well, let's sleep on it. We'll describe this again tomorrow after some research on Daddy and Mommy's side.
You mentioned I listened to a different podcast throughout the time you were doing it, and you mentioned sex parties. Have you gone to them? Was this before Aaron?
So I have not. Aaron has not. We want to. We were going to, and then COVID hit. Like we were like, yeah, like it's before we're married and maybe have kids. I feel like it's going to be harder to coordinate when we have kids. And then just COVID. Even though I would find out later there were a lot of COVID sex parties happening, or like sex parties happening, and then like everyone was just getting COVID at these parties. But I haven't. I've had friends. I think she's been on the podcast, Marie Faustin. She's like performed comedy at a sex party, like at an orgy. She has a hilarious set about it.
I can't take anything sexier when I'm trying to get a boner.
I guess they do it to like loosen people up, but she like full blown like did a set and was like invited to stay. Because she did the story on my podcast or on my show once, the live show. And I don't think
imagine her staying because she's pretty private.
She keeps it pretty private. I think she stayed for the food for a little bit. Like I don't think she partook, but I guess like the food was good too.
Is it like hot dogs and meatballs, or are they like funny about the food? A lot of fish.
I feel like it was like charcuterie and like maybe some fruits and veggies.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you got to keep it light,
just
right?
Circumcised hot dogs. The chips on the side shape if you want it.
And then with COVID, I heard from your show they had Zoom sex parties. You got to be on camera, right? You can't just lurk without a camera on at a Zoom sex party, right?
Oh yeah, and I've done like do you remember chat roulette?
I know of it.
Okay, so chat roulette, I was like mutually masturbating with a lot of people on chat roulette to the point where I was getting banned. And the way you get unbanned, because your privates are out, right? Like things are out. And you can either like, it was like you can either go like be banned for a week, or you could be the person that goes through and just bans people that you say like their dicks or their boobs. So
I thought it was always sex. I really thought I guess that's chatterbait or something. I guess that's different, right?
Chatterbait is like full like everyone's like there to have a good time sexually. But chat roulette was like this random like, oh, now we're talking, you're in a different country, how cool. And you could very easily see like, can this go to something else? And then I think it would be Skype. You would like exchange Skype names, and then you just like masturbate to these like with these strangers. I do now talking to you, I've forgotten how much I love masturbating. Like
it's pretty good, right?
Yeah. And like just like strangers stuff is fun. Like because it's like there's no commitment. Everyone's having a good time if it's consensual, and especially like it's a Zoom, like you just click out when you're done. You're like, great, goodbye, so much fun.
But are you specifically a people pleaser? And with that said, do you masturbate, finish, and it's a total stranger, so you can only care too much, but you're like, oh my god, you're taking forever, but I got to stare at you.
Honestly, I think they always finish first.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if that was ever an issue. I remember one time this guy was like, oh, I'm not into this. And he just clicked out. And I was like, whoa.
Oh, that's
fucked up.
I can't tell you why, but something just came up where I'm not into this picture.
Just not into this.
You talked about a kink being you masturbate in like half secret. Like maybe the door's unlocked, but will your husband catch you?
I do that a lot. Yeah. Yeah. He's usually like watching sports, like football or basketball. And it's always funny to me because I'm like, if I wanted to, I could be like, hey, babe, do you want to have sex? And he'd be down. But sometimes there's something, more efficient about masturbating too. And you get to be a little bit more selfish. But yeah, I do like a little almost caught. I love that's a very fun porn to watch. Is like,
you know what? That's a good way. That's a good way to have your spouse keep the volume at low on the TV a lot. Like, listen for deep exhales.
Right? Is something happening? Because I will listen to the porn with no headphones. Like if they were paying attention, they could probably hear it.
Right. You said before you got married, you were thinking about sex clubs. Did marriage lock it down somehow? Like, no, now it's not even a debate. We're married.
No, I think it's definitely always like an opportunity. I think it more became scheduling. We became very overscheduled. And then it was like, because I'm 35 and he is going to be turning 42. So kids became like a very big conversation. And it just was like, how do we schedule, a sex party and a babysitter, and I think that's just kind of where the conversation stopped. I think we both were too lazy to figure that out for the future. But I have a feeling if I brought it up to him, he'd be like, yeah, I'm down.
And also you have a good 9 months though, before you have to like schedule that in.
That's also true. And I think if I brought it up, I think he'd be like, oh yeah, we can talk about this. And to have a husband too, that's very okay with like the amount of times I talk about this and him on podcasts or my podcast. Very, very grateful for that.
Did you ever have to ask him, or you knew he'd be cool?
There's a couple times, there will be a couple stories where I will do the podcast and I'll have to check with him first to be like, hey, I talked about this. Is this okay? Or X, Y, and Z. There was one time I wrote something and he was like, I didn't like that because it didn't feel 100% like authentic. I can't remember exactly what it was. And I remember being like, but this is my story too. But then we learned to like talk it out because it was like, this isn't just my story. Like if I am exclusively with this person and I'm actively talking about sex, like I have to make sure that like they're okay with it too.
Are you compared to friends, are you overly sexual, or are you just like getting rid of any stigma, or both?
I think it's like getting rid of any stigma. I will say like my libido has gone down since I've gotten older and I miss it. I think I used to have sex way more. But I don't think I'm like the most sexual of my friends. I think I just am the most open about it. People don't like to talk about it. That, and I talk about poop a lot. Like I used to have a show.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Awkward poop in the city.
Yeah, that's okay.
The boys are always the ones that get weird about it.
Yeah, there's a little difference. So anyway, getting back to sex and not poop. You had a dream about, this was some time ago, I'm not sure. You had a dream about fucking ghosts. So there's a lot of sex going on in that brain of yours.
Dream about fucking ghosts. I mean, I definitely have.
I didn't read your diary.
I was in the podcast. I have a lot of sex dreams, a lot.
Yeah.
And female sex dreams are great too, because you come in a sex dream too, but there's nothing, there's no cleanup. I don't remember specifically what the ghost dream was though. Give me a second. I'm going to have to think about that one.
It was in a castle, and
I'd like to talk about rules because you guys are monogamous and you want to go to sex club, which I think people picture now you're swapping people. But are you going there just to have sex in front of other people without anybody else touching you? Or do you have different rules at the sex club?
Are you lighting up a pipe and just watching, taking it in?
Yeah, I think that'd be a conversation we definitely would have to have. I think we'd probably be, if like our first sex party, it'd probably be like, we're just doing sexy stuff to each other. And then we figure out what our boundaries are and something like that. But these are really great questions. And I think like if you are monogamous, yeah, I'll give you his number afterwards. If you are like, if something you're interested in, but you are monogamous, like these conversations are like super, super important to make sure.
I think that's if you don't clarify that ahead of time, you can get so lost because you're in the middle of a different world.
I'd assume we're fucking if we're going to a sex club, right?
See, I don't know that I would, but you can get carried away because now everyone is having sex next to you. And as soon as you move your hand outside of your intimate space with your spouse, your hand is on someone else. But it's also part of the experience because you're feeling that other person there and they're feeling you. So does that cross a boundary now? Or can you just sense as a couple that this is a boundary that we're willing to cross because we're already having an interaction that's more I want to call it spiritual or whatever. So I feel like those boundaries can so easily be crossed if you're like, let's just see what happens. Well, what happens in a sex club is sex.
But how much pressure to even bring it up? Like somebody, if you really didn't discuss it somehow before being a couple and you go, hey, you ever think about fucking other people or going to a sex club? Like, no. Yeah, it's not a big deal. I'm really happy with you. It's just throwing it out there. anyways, Loki's on, and apparently he forgets that he can just put people in cages sometimes.
There is a threesome in Loki season 2.
Nice. He fucks himself and himself
in every like different time zone. I don't get how it works either. But I think this is this is really fucking important. And this is where shit hits the fan too. Like I had a friend, this was years ago. Like I want to say like 2014. And I don't think they're together anymore, but they were open and they like, I think it was more of like a swinger situation where they were kind of, swapping partners for the night, and they go in 2 different rooms, and she only does, I think like maybe like hand job, blow job. He does full like D&V sex. And when they like
dick and vagina,
dirty vagina. Oh, dick and vagina.
Like like penetration.
Okay.
And afterwards she was like, wait, what? And he was like, I thought that's what we were doing. And she came to me and was like, is this okay? And I was like, if you're asking, like, you need to talk to him. Like, you're not okay with this. There was obviously not enough communication. So next time you've got to like talk about this, like what you are specifically okay with. But I think there's a lot of, I don't remember.
No, they broke up, but you deal with it how you deal with it. And if that's what you want to do, that's fine too.
And I think there's a lot of people pleasing, kind of like what you brought up too, of like, right. I want to make sure this person's having fun, but this is a really important time to be selfish of like, this is not like an enthusiastic yes. Like, I'm not okay with this. And it's totally okay to not be okay with sex parties, and totally okay to be like so down. And it's the only time you guys fuck other people, but any other time, like you're totally like monogamous.
You and your husband send each other porn, and you ever see something and be like, oh God, Jesus.
I did send him porn recently. We were like, I think I was touring and he was up late and I was up late in like a different time zone. And he was like, I'm going to, do stuff to myself. You want to send me some porn? And I did. And like afterwards I was like, did you like it? And he was like, not really. Like, it was like a power dynamic. Cause I love a power dynamic. I think a lot of women do. And he was like, it made me feel weird. It made me feel like I was like taking advantage of this like person. And I was like, fair. And that's what's hard about porn, is like not everyone likes different things.
I think, have you thought of why women like the power dynamic of, especially where as a female, you're not in control? And I feel like it has to do with like, really this whole time I have to do the scheduling. If we meet with friends, I'm the one who put that together, blah, blah, blah. I just want to see if you can take over with anything. Fine, sex.
And it's not real. So I'm not like, selling out somehow.
I think it's because in a weird way, it gives us control. Like we are choosing this narrative to get off to, and it's an ideal narrative. Like it's happening exactly how we want it to. Because in real life, we'd be like, oh, no, thank you.
Right. Yeah.
But in this, like, because I would like to tell people like it's entertainment. If we can remember that like porn is entertainment and it's like exactly like what we're looking for in that moment, I think also releases a lot of expectations of what sex is in real life with a person or partners.
I'm 47 years old, and I was taught that it's dirty for females to be in control of sex, wanting sex, that desire is really just it's not even in you. So it was very strange when it did start being in me. So I think the power dynamic is more like, hey, this wasn't my fault. I was taken. And so it allows you to relax and go like, he convinced me like you said he would, or he dominated me, nothing I can do. Like I'm in control usually. I guess he's overpowering. I had to go with it. That's, like you told me to be a good girl. I was a good girl today.
That's really interesting.
Enjoy that, everybody, at your next dominatrix move. I just ruined it.
Do you enjoy family porn?
Like step brother, step sister.
Yeah, and then sometimes they throw in step once, and they're like, I think that's enough with the law, and then they take the step out of it. Do you get into that stuff?
I do, because usually that's the campiest. And if you watch
those people are deaf, right? In the family ones, it always seems the one where like the daughter's sucking the dad off the table, but 2 feet away, the mom's making dinner. It's like this whole family's deaf. But you know what? I guess I get it because I know people with kids, and you got to kind of zone a lot of that stuff out.
I love the porns that make me laugh a little bit, the ones that keep me out of it just a smidge, and those definitely do, because you're just like, okay. And I think I talked about this on my last podcast episode, but I love any porn around a holiday. My favorite might be St. Patrick's Day, because you're just like, are you serious? Like, it's like the most outlandish stuff. One was like this leprechaun like chasing this woman, and like no one believed her. And then she was like, fine, you can fuck me. And it was just like so dumb. And I was like, this is amazing. Or Halloween's a great one too. Like all the masks, all the pumpkins, all the scarecrows that are really just, people with their dick out. Like it's just chef's kiss. Like it's really them at their peak.
I do like a little story. I don't like when they go too long. It's almost like watching The Exorcist. And it's like, there's going to be a demon. Can we get it now?
Well, there was one that I saw where like it starts off where the guy comes in and she knows him, and he's like, she goes, no, my husband's upstairs, he's sleeping. He completely ignores it, goes to town, right? As they're going to town, somebody else walks in and she's like, who's this? Oh, just a friend of mine. Shh, shh, shh. And she's like, but my husband's upstairs. Her husband was upstairs sleeping for an hour. Like they went to the kitchen, they went to the living room. I'm like, is your husband still sleeping through this? Get an intercom system, something. I don't know. This is crazy.
Meanwhile, he was masturbating with the door unlocked.
I didn't watch to the end, so I don't know.
Maybe the thing about porn too is like the moment you come, like the moment you're done, I'm like, I can't, I hate whatever I was just watching. Like
everything's gross.
Everything's gross.
I'm sorry. Did you say as soon as it's done?
Like as soon as like you're done. Like,
agreed. Like I like the jerk off instruction videos. The chicks tell me what to do, and it's like, you need this, buddy, and you'd ruin your life for it. And then I come and she's like, now tell me how much you love me. I'm like, what, skank? The fuck, get out of here. Who the fuck?
It's a very universal experience, I found out, because I was like, oh, do people just watch porn in its entirety? And no, right. no one does.
Now, after a while, you're like, did you just say that? Shut up.
Right. What?
That's not dialogue, idiot.
Right. I already ate my cum. What the fuck are you saying? Do you think your libido might be going down because the relationship is too real? Like taxes, electric bills, doctor visits, that kind of takes away sex a little bit. Is there something there?
Maybe. I think just getting older. I think not having sex for a long time and then being like, oh, I am having sex. I'm a sexual being, and you're having a lot of sex for a good amount of time. And then you just, I think you start having more responsibilities, day jobs, touring, scheduling, and you start getting tired more. Like we rarely have sex at night. We are a morning sex people. We're like, get up, this is great, and we're starting our day. But even like things like that, and I think also I was on an IUD for a long time, so that also messed with my hormones, and so now I'm off of it because we might be trying to have a kid soon. I'm even noticing differences there too, of like how much I want to have sex versus like the week before or then like the next week. It's really, ladies' hormones are so frustrating because it really, they fluctuate so much, and just learning how to understand what they mean is huge. Like even just understanding periods again, from not having one for 7 years with an IUD, you're just like, Jesus Christ, I forgot what this is like.
Yeah. Right. And they talk about your hormones all the time when you go to the doctor. They're like, and you can take this and you can take that. And I'm like, what are my hormones supposed to be at? And they're like, I don't know, but you could take this. I'm like, all right, can we just test if they're in the right place? Well, how do you feel? I'm like, we're going by how I feel. I don't know. Right. What day is it? What happened today? Shit. All right.
That's the new science. How do I feel?
No, feelings aren't facts. Right. Fucking prick me, get some blood, and go do some stuff.
Yeah, and like all I have to do is do a blood test, and they would be able to give us some peace of mind. But that's so much like hemming and hawing, that word. There it is, from these doctors. They just don't care.
Yeah. Have you, by the way, speaking of porn, have you tried VR porn?
No.
Holy hell.
Do you need a specific like like is it Oculus?
You'd want an Oculus. I think but I think that cardboard shit probably works too, but you'd want one of the real gems. And oh my goodness.
My friend actually works at Oculus. Maybe I can ask him for one, because that's gotta be amazing. Like, that's gotta be so intense. Yeah.
There was one that I was watching where I guess they thought it'd be sexy because you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, but I'm fucking this chick on a set. And the camera guy walks in, is like, hey, I forgot my wallet. It sounded like somebody came through my house, and I sit on the towel on my couch. I quickly put the towel over me. I'm like, oh, and it happened 2 more times. I'm like, fire somebody. This is ridiculous. Other than that, though, in general, it's great.
I think Keith and your parents need to lock doors differently.
Yeah.
I get that you're locking doors, but it's like maybe because when you said like, yeah, I walked in on my parents a few times, I'm like, first time, shame on me, but come on.
Right.
Like, hide that key. What the fuck?
You got to take the key away. You know it's there. You got to take it away. That's on them.
When did
they got to teach you what a locked door means. Because you didn't even pause. You're like, well, why is this not right for me? What?
You locked your door, Mom, and are you stuck inside?
There was a vortex. Okay. There was some sort of like, my parents' door could be open, but I would stand at the door like a vampire waiting to be invited in. So if it was closed and let's say I jiggled the thing, I'm like, well, this is none of my business. And I left. I didn't even think sex. I didn't even want to, this is none of my business town. I'll go do stuff. And I was going to say, I'll go do stuff that, they're not going to be around to watch. And I'm like, I didn't even do that. I'll just go be a good girl in the next room. I'll see you when your door is unlocked.
Yeah. When my parents were gone, I just step into the room like, oh,
yeah.
And it did. It felt like a haunted house. I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here.
Right.
And then Natalie, I learned I wasn't supposed to be there. So I'm a kid. So I snoop. I'm going through like their drawers, and I found like a love letter my dad wrote to my mom, but my dad's like, but okay. So the letter's like, I long to put my hard, big penis in your warm, moist vagina. I'm like, all right, lesson learned. No more snooping.
Yeah, that was on you.
That is on you.
What if it's fake? And it was just in case they snoop, I'm going to put this letter in.
That's great.
Yeah. My dad was in the military, so he would I never listened to him, but they left him out in the open, and we were like, what is this? And they're like, put it down. He would do like tapes. So he would like record messages to my mom while he was like wherever he was stationed abroad for like 6, 8, 12 months.
That's romantic.
Yeah, I have to say, like, my parents.
Really? Because when I leave voice messages, everybody hates it. Oh, well.
Yeah, because they only had tape recorders, Keith.
And then one time, I think.
Oh, and look at this. By the way, she's about to prove to you why these fucking voice messages. All right. One time, what? Well, go ahead.
Oh, because their kids will find it. I see.
I think I was either high school or college, and I asked my parents what they were doing for Valentine's Day, and my mom was like, "Oh, I bought like edible underwear for us."
Whoa.
Yeah, right. Like that's so they hid the love, like the like very intimate, like I love you, I miss you, but they were like, yeah, we got like the like what were those candy necklaces that
sure.
and that like
candy
necklaces. Like a thong. Yeah.
Oh my.
The only gross thing that ever happened was
that,
and this is my brother. Well, like pictures or stuff. It was my brother had a computer before me. That's what he does. He like his jobs are computers to this day, and he let me on his computer all the time. There's a 4-year difference between us. I'm younger, and I just kept watching porn on his computer, and he was like, "Stop." Like, I know you're watching porn, like, stop. And I was like, I'm not watching porn. I thought I was like being sneaky. I wasn't. And he was like, okay, if you're going to watch porn, stop clicking on the ads. Like, you're giving my fucking computer viruses. And I was like, Nate, I'm not, I promise. And then he was like, okay, sure. And then one day I was like on the computer to like watch porn. And there was like a little folder on the like desktop that said family or something like that. And I was like, oh, Nate, like, what is this? What did you do? And it just like was full blown pictures of like a vulva with piercings. And I was like, he got me. He fucking got me. Good for you. And I think I still kept watching porn after that. I just would not click on any of the little folders.
Kyle's kids, she just saw one typed, was Googling big fat Latin asses. Those pictures of ass. When did you know that you wanted to do, whether it's a podcast or just be open about sex? When did you realize you're doing something most people aren't doing and we need to talk about it? What was the catalyst?
That's a great question. I guess probably college. I remember in college, I was like talking about like my vibrator, and all my roommates were like really weirded out about it. And then like individually came to me and were like, yeah, I have one too. Like I like to masturbate. And I was like, oh, this is a problem. Like, why do you not feel comfortable in a group setting when we're talking about it? And it really is like, I really want to make people feel comfortable about sex and dating relationships. So I would say probably, I guess, college. And honestly, Sex and the City helped too. Like I was obsessed with that show at like 11, 12. And they really like, it's a very problematic show in a lot of ways nowadays, but like 1997, like they fucking like just destroyed all these stigmas about sex. And it was really, really inspiring and really cool.
Yeah, it is very easy to watch now and judge. And some of the episodes are so fucking corny that it's like, please stop representing me like this. But some of them really tell you what the time was like. Charlotte, who was the most uppity one and conservative sexually as well, she was asked to have butt sex. They all got together for an emergency meeting to talk about this. Now, 20 years later, I'm like, yeah, no, thank you for butt sex. And everyone's like, oh my God, that's a hole too. And I'm like, oh, okay. Can I just live my life? Like it used to be, this was a major request that had you sit down. It was practically a proposal. Now I'm just supposed to like first date this. Like, let's meet in the middle, and not at all.
But yeah, it really is like so much has changed. And so it's crazy to look back and watch these episodes and be like, this was so progressive, even though it's only been like 20 years. Like it was mind blowing.
It was.
I heard one of your shows during COVID, and COVID did a number on you, rightfully so, but you took it very seriously. And you mentioned how you were talking to your therapist, and your therapist was depressed over fucking COVID. Yeah. It's like, who's helping who over here? What's the big thing that you talk to your therapist about now, or is it really week by week?
I think right now has been about having a kid. I left my job recently too, so I got like quietly cut, basically, where they were like, we eliminated your position, you can stay at this demoted position, or you can take severance. And I took severance. And
well, what's the field?
Customer experience. Like my day job is very, very simple. And because of that, though, me and my husband had to stop trying for a second, because we both want a job where there's like maternity leave.
Okay.
And so it's a lot about that right now. Like the idea of that, because I'm in a marriage and, trying to build a family, like my choices don't just affect me anymore. Right. Like you have to really think about who all is it affecting? What are the pros and cons of that?
What kind of job is he affecting you with?
He doesn't like me say what his job is because I talk so openly about sex. I can definitely tell you after. Not that
but it's like a 9-to-5 sort of thing.
Yeah, like it's a very stable job. And he's always been the very stable one out of us too, because I'm a comedian and like.
And that's not maternity leave oriented in his 9-to-5, or?
I would not be able to get it. He would, but I wouldn't.
Oh.
He could have paternity leave, but you can't have maternity leave.
Oh, yeah. Duh. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Well, not even right. I mean, that's a new thing too. Paternity leave, right?
No, but it's your job giving you relief.
Right.
His job is not giving her relief.
Right.
Yeah.
She gets to not go to work at his job still. Yes. Okay. I get it.
So we talk about that a lot, just kind of like the evolution of your choices and when there's other people to care about too right now. And also like little things. I think week by week it changes too. Absolutely.
Right. Okay. Anything else the audience should know, like sex wise, that people aren't trying, or how they could be more comfortable in the skin, or just wake up? We're all going through the same shit, and blah blah blah.
I think, yeah, we're all going through the same shit. We all have our insecurities, and if you like it, there's probably someone else that likes it too. Just make sure that it is consensual and like no one's getting hurt and it's not illegal.
You're really into that, aren't you? Okay, very good. All right.
And can I add on the tail end? This is always my PSA. Please masturbate. Please do not go out with a loaded gun. I mean, just
please masturbate. It is
cock it and pull it. Come on, let's go.
Should high school and colleges have mandatory masturbating rooms?
No, because someone have to clean that up.
Okay. All right.
Oh my God.
But I think there should be so much more sex ed, including in high school and college, specifically just around masturbation.
Oh, I had it in fucking sex ed in 8th grade. I'm like, well, I can use a refresher now,
Honestly, I thought that's what BuzzFeed was this whole time. So, okay.
12 holes you're not using. $12. You can read the article. Download the podcast, Awkward Sex in the City. And she also does live shows, was recently in LA. So be on top of her stuff for that. What's the best way to follow what's doing?
Awkward Sex and City on all the socials. And then our next show in New York City is Club Coming on November 15th.
Club Coming. Okay.
What was the date on that again?
When's that? 69?
November 69. November 15th. November 15th for that one.
All right. Well, A, you're a gem.
Oh, thank you. So are you.
B, it turns out people could talk about sex. Even though they say they can, they actually can do it. And so I appreciate that. That was refreshing. Very nice meeting you. Thank you so much for your time, Natalie.
Of course. You have a great rest of your day.
Stick around for a second. I'm just going to close up in a minute.
Okay.
Now, we missed this earlier, but when you were saying that your mom and dad were found and you saw the legs and you saw her in the kitchen, she was like, oh yeah, I was here the whole time. Ryan V said, the Shaggy defense. So I feel like that was so perfect.
I cut four legs together. It wasn't me.
Bad Beef is saying such a great guest. Ryan V is clapping. And Carl needed to let us know that Liz Mealy has a boyfriend. So I'll follow up on that another time. Thank you. And yeah, hit the like button and all the buttons in front of you. Hit the negative button wherever you